Hi, my name's Claire Haviland. I'm the English Subject Advisor at Pearson EdXL, and this is a short video to help you with your June 2025 spoken language endorsement submissions for GCSE English language. So we're going to cover a few sort of general reminders and revision tips, and then we'll move into the details of the submissions for the SLE. Before we start though, just to let you know that I have just started a Facebook group for GCSE English teachers. So we'd love it if you would join us there. It will give you a chance to get answers directly from me in an easy way. And then also you'll be able to reach out to other teachers and answer each other's questions too. It's not always easy if you're maybe a sole teacher in a school to find other people to collaborate with. So we really hope that the Facebook group is going to help with that. Also, we are very keen to hear about what you think English, particularly GCSE English language, should look like in the future. We're talking about that this year, and we're holding a number of events at which we'd love to have your input. So please do sign up to be part of Let's Talk English. We're also looking for additional examiners for GCSE English Language 2.0 this summer, as we have a very high number of entries. So if you're not already on board, we'd love to hear from you to examine. And now I'm just going to go through a few revision reminders, and also just to let you know that there are no changes to any of the exams for June 2025 for English Language 1 ENO, 2.0 and English Literature. So just a few reminders about some resources which are useful closer to exam time for revision. You've got your question summaries, so a clear overview of all the questions that have been set at every series. So for example, to get your students into the planning habit, you can give them lots and lots of writing questions and get them to plan the answers even if they don't write the full answer. You've got reminders about what's required for each of the transactional writing forms. There are exam walkthroughs, which are PowerPoints with a voiceover explaining what to do on every question. And don't forget, we've got new exemplars from the November 2024 exam series. A similar picture for 2.0. In addition, we have a new secure mock for paper 1. We have free copies of the November 2024 question papers, hard copies, if you would like to order those while stocks last. Maybe you'd like to use those for mocks or practice. And don't forget, we've got the 2 revision and workbooks. Those are hard copy resources that you can buy, which really helps students to understand what to do again for every question. And for literature, we've got, again, question summaries, student lessons and knowledge organisers for various texts, and PowerPoints on preparing for questions for some of the texts. Okay, what about the main course now, SLE submissions? So the deadline for you to upload all of your SLE grades and your video samples is the 15th of May 2025. The grades are uploaded to EdXL online, and the video samples are uploaded to the Learner Work Transfer portal, otherwise known as the LWT. EdXL Online and the LWT open around the middle of April, so you should be aiming to get everything ready for upload by then, and then you can start to do your uploads. And we do recommend that you avoid leaving it right till the end of the 15th of May, because the platforms obviously are particularly busy at that time. So for the SLE, you are selecting your own sample. It's not a sample that Pearson EdXL selects, and you need to submit 10 merits, 10 passes and 10 distinctions. That's if you've got a group of a cohort of 30 or more students. So you need to make sure that you've got video recordings of the right number of each grade, and if you don't have the right number, you do need to backfill your recordings. That obviously is assuming that you actually do have 10 passes. If you have 10 passes, you need to submit 10 passes. You can't submit 20 merits instead. We do need to see the full range of grades that have been applied. When you go onto the LWT, you need to use the Manage Learners button to tell us which learners' work you're going to be sharing. So you need to add the names of the students who are in your sample, and then you'll have the list, and you'll drag and drop your PDF for each student onto their name. So you're completing an authentication sheet for every student, and that will have the AI declaration on it, the sheet that we introduced last year. So that has an AI declaration signed by the student and the teacher. Students shouldn't be using AI to compose their talks for the SLE, so they need to declare that that is the case. So you'll be uploading one PDF scan of the 30 authentication sheets from the students in the sample. So you take your 30 paper copies and you make one PDF out of that and upload it to the admin materials section on the LWT. You upload all the grades onto Edexcel Online, and also on Edexcel Online you check the box which declares that you have filled in a head of centre declaration. So you are going to be printing off a hard copy head of centre declaration. Your head of centre completes it, and then that is stored in centre, and you're just simply asked to confirm on Edexcel Online that you've done that. You're not uploading the head of centre declaration anywhere. Okay. So those are just some of the documents that you can use to help you do all that. And now I'm going to go through a series of Q&As, common Q&As on these on the submission and on doing the SLE. So, do we need to complete a head of centre declaration? Yes, you do, but you keep it in centre and you just cross the box on Edexcel Online to say that you have done that. Do we need to complete authentication sheets for every student? Yes, you do. You then make one PDF scan of the 30 who are in the sample, but you keep all of the hard copies in centre. Do all students have to do the SLE, and does everyone need to be video recorded? Yes, everybody does have to do the SLE, and no, not everybody needs to be video recorded. If you have 30 students or more, then you need 30 video recordings, and if you have fewer than 30 students, you need all of them to be video recorded. Because you need to get that distribution of 10, 10 and 10, and those have to come from across teaching groups, we do recommend that you make more than the minimum number so that you can get the right number of passes at the relevant level for your submission without having to backfill additional recordings. If you're entering students for both 1ENO and 2.0, both of our GCSEs in English language, then you need a separate sample for each. So that would be 60 recordings if you have 30 students on more on 1ENO and 2.0. Is there a minimum time for the presentation? The whole thing should take 10 minutes. So it's about 6 minutes of presenting and 2 to 3 minutes of questions and answers. Students can't pass the SLE if they don't do the question and answer section, so you must make sure that that is included in the assessment and then the video recording. What about for the many of you who are teaching in a PRU, a special school, alternative provision, or you just have students who don't want to be video recorded? So there are a range of suggestions here. One, if you've got a large cohort, then you can obviously simply not video record those who are very reluctant or very anxious. If you don't have that option, then you can simply assess students one-to-one. So you can assess students with just the teacher and one student. In general, it's not particularly to their advantage because the Q&A usually goes better where there are a few different students asking questions. But if they're feeling very anxious and it's better if they just have themselves and the teacher, then that's fine. Remote assessment is also an option which can help some students. They can talk to their screen and their teacher is in a different room and they can turn off their self view if they want to. And if all else fails and it's completely impossible, you can contact us and request an audio only recording, providing the full details of the particular candidate, why they need an audio recording. There are no blanket exceptions to video recording. So if you had 3 students who you really couldn't video record, then you would need to provide the details for each one of them so that we could make a decision. And in exceptional circumstances where it's completely impossible for the student to do the SLE, then you can apply for an exemption. That's an exemption from doing the SLE. It's not an exemption from the video recording. So, for example, students who are deaf and who use BSL as their first language are exempt because BSL is considered a different language and the SLE can't be done in BSL. Informing students about their grades, sorry, that should say their grades. So you must tell the student what grade they achieved for the SLE before you submit it to us, and you should do so in good time for the eventuality that they don't agree with the grade that they got, or they really wanted a higher grade and they would like another attempt. So because students can't appeal their grades after they have been issued by us for the SLE, you must give them the opportunity to appeal them before they're submitted. And the normal approach is that you would simply give them another opportunity to do the SLE if they are not happy with what happened at their first attempt. What happens if you don't have 10 pass, 10 merits and 10 distinctions for your submission? As I was saying before, if in your sample you've got 10, 10 and 10, then your sample has to be made up of 10, 10 and 10. And let's say you had only video recorded 8 distinctions, but you have 50, then you would need to reassess and video record 2 more distinctions. That's why it's better to make some extra recordings at the beginning rather than having to backfill. If you don't have 10 distinctions, then let's say you only have 5, then you would divide the other remaining 5 across the other 2 groups. So you would submit 5 distinctions and 12 merits and 13 passes. So the number always has to come up to 30. If you have the P10, PMs and Ds, then you have to submit those. And if you don't have the full number, then you share the remainder out between the other 2 grades. The LWT accepts more or less any of the audio formats that you're likely to use, but there's a little list in case you want to check. And now just a quick question about resitting students. This happens less in the summer series, but just in case, to make sure that we're absolutely clear. If you have a student who is resitting and they want to carry forward their spoken language endorsement from a previous sitting, then you must enter them using the 1ENO T or the 1EN2T entry code. And that means that you want us to get the SLE grade that they achieved before and put that on their new certificate when they sit in June 2025. When you do that, we don't expect to receive a sample for the student, and they won't appear in your list of candidates on Edexcel Online because we already have a grade for them. We also access the grades from other awarding organisations, GCSEs in English language. If you use the entry codes 1ENO or 1EN2, which is like the normal entry code, then we will phone you up if you don't submit the grade and the video sample for the student concerned. So you need to use the correct grade for someone who's resitting or not resitting. If you don't sort of sort this out in good time, then you can incur high late fees when you have to change from one entry type to the other. So do make sure that if you've entered any students for 1ENO, 1ENOT or 1EN2T, that you've seen evidence that they do have a pass for this SLE. And if you've entered them for the other grades, you need to be ready to submit their new grade and their new video sample. This is a question that comes up every now and again. Can a student still get a grade for GCSE English language if they have not done the SLE? It's a requirement of the qualification that every student has the opportunity to do the SLE, and the school or college has to take every opportunity to offer students the SLE and to do it with them. If you have tried everything, like all the things that I've suggested about for students who are reluctant, and the student has still not completed the SLE, then you can submit NC not classified grades for them, and that will appear on their certificate, spoken language endorsement not classified. It's really not advisable for students to end up in that position because there are certain progression routes where you have to prove that you can communicate orally, that you've got a speaking and listening qualification of some kind. And if a student doesn't have it, they may be asked to do another qualification like IELTS to prove that they can, which is a lot more work than simply doing a 10-minute talk and Q&A at GCSE. Can students be exempted and how do I apply? They can be exempted for, as I said, if they are deaf or if they are selective mutes, for example, and you use the JCQ form and send it to the email address on the screen along with the evidence of the reason why the SLE can't be completed. That is the end of the presentation for today on how to do your SLE submissions in June 2025. My contact details are here, and it only remains for me to wish you good luck in getting the SLE submissions done, and then of course in due course to you and all your students for the exam period. Thank you very much.